If you've been scrolling through endless monitor specs, watching 5K versus 4K debates, and still feel stuck wondering whether a high-resolution display is really worth the premium, this review is for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I've spent the past week mixing the LG Ultrafine 27-inch 5K into a real-world Mac workflow, from photo editing on a Lightroom library to video calls and casual YouTube binge watching. And I'm going to break down exactly what that experience looks like, where the monitor shines, and where it might leave you wishing for something else. First off, the biggest hesitation most buyers have is the price-to-performance ratio. A 27-inch 5K panel that costs well over $1,000 feels like a gamble unless you can actually put that pixel density to work. The Ultrafine is marketed as the perfect companion for Mac users, promising a seamless plug-and-play connection via Thunderbolt 3. In practice, that promise mostly holds up. The moment you plug the single Thunderbolt cable into a MacBook Pro, the monitor wakes up, delivers a crisp 51202880 canvas, and powers the laptop, no separate charger needed. That tidy setup is a genuine productivity boost if you spend a lot of time moving between desk and couch, because you eliminate a tangle of power bricks and HDMI adapters. Who should buy it? If you're a professional photographer, a video editor working with 4K footage, or a developer who needs a lot of screen real estate for multiple IDE windows, the Ultrafine's pixel density translates into tangible workflow gains. For a photographer, the 500 candelas per M brightness and wide color gamut mean you can see fine detail and subtle gradations without toggling a separate color calibration monitor. I tested it with a raw portrait shot, zoomed in past 200% on the monitor, and the skin tone stayed true, no banding, no washed-out highlights. That's the kind of real-world sharpness that justifies the cost for people whose work lives at the edge of 5K detail. On the flip side, if your primary use case is web browsing, office documents, or occasional media consumption, you'll likely be paying for resolution you'll never truly notice. On a 27-inch screen, the difference between 4K and 5K becomes noticeable only when you zoom in or work with high-resolution assets. The human eye can't appreciate the extra pixels from a normal viewing distance for everyday tasks. In those scenarios, a high-quality 4K monitor would save you a few $100s without a perceivable loss. Now, onto practical strengths. The most immediate benefit is the built-in 1080p webcam and stereo speakers. For many creators, a separate webcam rig and external speakers are an additional expense, and the integrated options work surprisingly well. The camera's placement at the top center of the screen means no awkward angle adjustments, and the image quality is comparable to what you'd get from a dedicated USB webcam. I ran a quick Zoom call and the video stayed clear even in a moderately lit room, a nice boost over the built-in cameras on most laptops. The Thunderbolt 3 port does more than just display video. It can deliver up to 85 W of power to your MacBook, which means you can run a 16-inch MacBook Pro at full performance while the monitor handles the display and charging duties. That single cable solution reduces desk clutter and frees up the other USB-C ports on the laptop for peripherals. In a real-world scenario, I was able to charge my MacBook while rendering a 30-minute 4K video, and there were no throttling issues. The monitor also includes a few extra USB-C downstream ports, letting you plug a small external SSD or a USB hub without reaching for the computer's side panel. A hidden trade-off is the monitor's stand and ergonomics. The Ultrafine comes with a relatively simple stand that offers limited tilt, about 10 degrees up or down, and no height adjustment. In a typical office setup, you'll likely need a separate VESA mount or a separate ergonomic arm if you want to align the screen perfectly with eye level. That isn't a deal-breaker, but it adds an extra cost and extra planning if you're particular about posture. I ended up pairing it with a third-party monitor arm, which cost another $150, just to get the height right for long editing sessions. Another practical weakness is the lack of native HDR support. While the panel can hit 500 candelas per M brightness, the internal tone mapping isn't tuned for HDR content, so HDR movies look like they're simply brighter rather than true high dynamic range. If you're a cinephile who watches HDR streams on Apple TV or Netflix, you'll notice the difference compared to a monitor specifically built for HDR10 or Dolby Vision. For color-critical work, though, the accurate 10-bit color depth still offers a reliable workspace. The built-in cleaning set in the bundle, a microfiber cloth and a gentle cleaning solution, feels more like a nice-to-have than a necessity. In my day-to-day usage, the screen rarely gathers dust because the glossy surface is relatively forgiving. A quick wipe with a regular soft cloth does the job. Still, for a high-end display that you'll be cleaning regularly, having a dedicated cleaning kit included is a thoughtful